Coach Rob here. I hope you're doing great, and I'm going to do video 3 on what I like to call Bench Week. It's like Shark Week, but about bench pressing, okay? Bench Week. I'm doing this video, basically a video series of bench, because I'm just leading up to being head coach at the NAPF Bench Press Championships in Mexico City next week in the middle of October. So it's a complete honor to go and be coach for the bench press team. This will be my 5th time coaching for Team Canada, so I thought, you know what, it's going to be a fun opportunity and great experience, so why not do some bench teaching and share some cool, fun videos on benching. So Bench Week is here. Previous 2 videos, I talked about, number 1 was the 3 phases of the bench press setup. Okay, so 3 phases of the bench press. Video 2 was 3 phases of the bench press setup, all right? So getting all your ducks in a row, getting everything right before you actually start the lift. So I'm not going to go into too much detail here on the setup and the 3 phases of the bench press. In this video, I'm going to talk more about the 2nd phase setup. And the 2nd phase after that is the takeout, okay? The takeout or the lift off. Now, I don't have anybody here with me today, but I'm still going to demonstrate how to do it if there was somebody here, all right? And then maybe in the future when I get one of my teammates are in here, I'll do that, but I wanted to get the video done and kind of get it out to you. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about taking the bar out of the rack, all right? When it comes to benching, this is probably one of the things that I see that a lot of lifters make mistakes with. They don't pay attention to it. They don't think it's a really big deal. You know, they're worried about the press. They're worried about the setup, but the transition from the setup to the press matters. You can lose all of your setup, all of the emphasis and energy and technique that you put into your setup. You can lose all of it with a bad self-takeout or a bad handoff, okay? So don't neglect that phase of the bench press. It's very important, and we're going to drill down and talk about this now, okay? So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to do what's called a self-takeout, self-lift. There's a bunch of terms for it. Taking the bar out myself, okay? Let's say I train at home and I don't have a spotter. Let's say I train in a gym and I don't have a spotter. Let's say that you just like to take the bar out on your own. I teach all of my lifters, all of them, to take the bar out themselves, okay? Once they have some training and a bit of knowledge and a bit of skill, I then teach them how to do the handoff as well, and I let them choose what they like more, all right? The one thing about doing a self-lift off is that it removes the ability for a bad lift off or a bad handoff to throw off your technique and throw off your setup, okay? And I'll leave that for another video in itself, but don't neglect the importance of the takeout of the bar, the transition between the setup and the bench, okay? So let's go into it a little bit. And again, I'm not going to go into too much in the setup aspect of things. This video is going to focus on the takeout of the bar, okay? So generally speaking, there's no right or wrong, but for most people starting, eyes under the bar is a good place. As you get more advanced, you can change that a little bit. But generally speaking, for now, let's go eyes under the bar, okay? We want to minimize the distance of the takeout. So if you can see the bar here on the rack, all right, we want to minimize the distance that has to travel. If it travels further than it has to, you're wasting more energy than you need to, all right? So a really, really sharp technique makes this just like slightly up and out, right? Just up and out a little bit, okay? And that comes with practice, all right? So let's show you. So, I'm gonna go eyes under the bar, do all my correct steps for my setup, everything is good, okay? And again, I'm not gonna set up too hard or anything, just really wanna focus on the takeout of the bar, okay? There's a couple of ways that you can do this. I'm going to go into that in a second. But when we go to take the bar out, it should be just a little press of the triceps. And as you press the triceps, you also push back into the bench. Okay? So I'm not lifting up and out. Not lifting up and out. If I lift up and out, it's going to throw my shoulders out of position, and then the weight's going to be in my hand, and then I got to try to put my shoulders back in position with the weight in my hand. You should keep your shoulders dug and pinched and tucked and dug in. And then when you take out the bar, so like ideally now this rack height could go a little higher for me, all right? But I'm just gonna go with it for now, is I'm going to just punch with the elbows, the triceps, as I push back into the bar. Up, out. Another term for it is dragging the bar out, okay? So now I'm in position to bench press, all right? There's a couple of ways I'm going to show you. One, we have this beautiful combo rack here, which is great for powerlifting and for training. But if you don't have one of those and you have a J cup with a longer hook, it's going to make the second version a little more difficult. I'll get to that in a second, okay? But for your takeout, you want to kind of bring the bar in as close to the lip here as you can, and then the bar comes up and out slightly. So it's just a little lift up and out. Again, the bar doesn't need to come up and out, it should just clear that, okay? The other option that you can do is use, I don't know what the term with this would be, but basically use this part of the rack to slide the bar up and then out, okay? I'll show you both. So version 1, we just did a second ago. Version 1 is out to the edge of the lip, okay? And I don't need to push too far. I don't want to try to drive that bar forward. I'm just applying a little bit of force to the cup here, just enough that I can take the bar up and out. So you see how there's not much distance. What I don't want to do, and I'll get to the second one in a second, is I don't want to be way out here, taking the bar, look at my shoulders, like this is not a good position to be in. I'm not strong here at all. Hard on the shoulders. I don't want to take the bar up and then all the way out. So you see how much further I've got to go there? So with practice, minimize that takeout distance, okay? Now let's go back to the second one. So this first one I'm pulling towards the rack, inside the rack or close to the edge here. The next one is really good. It takes a bit of practice, but it's very effective. Is you're going to use this and slide the bar up it, okay? And I've got to be back a little bit further for this one. So I'm going to push the bar up, slightly back, up, out. It's very, very effective and very smooth. So again, triceps push up and slightly back, drag the bar out. Okay, now I'm in a really good position to bench press. Okay, so I hope you got some good information from this. I know for some people that might not be a very exciting topic, taking out the barbell, but if you're into barbell training, if you're into powerlifting, if you're into bench pressing, very important. So play around with these two types of taking the bar out of the rack and see if it helps you, okay? Now I'm gonna do the next portion, hi Kaiser, which is going to be the handoff of the bench press. Now, I don't have anybody here, but I'm still gonna walk through it a bit, okay? And I'll do another video in more detail about the lift off. So if I was going to take the bar, if I'm lifting here and somebody's going to spot the bar to me, lift the bar out to me and give me a spot, essentially the lifter is just going to push a little bit, a lot-ish, depending on the weight and how much they're lifting and the lifter themselves, but you're going to let the person giving you the handoff take a lot of the weight, okay? And again, a good lift off can really make or break a lift. So if I'm lifting off the bar to somebody, I don't want to lift the bar up and out. This is a very common error. They'll lift the bar up and then they'll lift the bar out. And that's going to throw off your lifter's setup completely, okay? So don't lift the bar up and out, slightly up, slightly out, okay? Minimizing that lift off, making it, what's often called a soft lift off, okay? The nice thing about if the bar is lifted out to you is you don't have to expend as much energy compared to a self takeout, which is much more demanding and harder. So by letting the bar be lifted off to you in a good position, you save yourself a bit of energy for the bench press, okay? So there's two ways that you can do the takeout of the bench press, all right? You can do a self takeout, self lift off, or you can do a handout or a lift off, okay? Neither is wrong, but I really recommend if you're new, especially to learn self takeouts, master that, get that down, then practice with a handoff. Learn both, practice both, train both. There's benefits to it. But for some people, especially at the higher levels, when they get really, really heavy, trying to take out your own bar is almost impossible, okay? So there's benefits to both, learn both, train both, practice both, and I hope this video helped you. And if it did, please drop a comment below. I would love to help you, and happy benching. Cheers.